All right, at this time we're going to begin our awards presentation. And actually our first introduction is going to be by Heath. He's going to introduce our Private Merchandiser of the Year.
The awards committee is always looking beyond the golf shop when reflecting upon this award. The best merchandisers do not just sell apparel and equipment, but they also sell the game of golf. They market and promote their facilities and everything that they do. Very close to my heart, Dean worked for me 11 years ago for 6 years. My first head professional position, and guided me, and I lean on him hard. To see him win this award now makes me extremely proud. Dean's philosophy at Leawood Golf Club is to ensure that every member is taken care of. It includes many different ways, but merchandising in the shop is one of those ways. Though private golf courses may be limited with clientele, members must never feel that they are limited with selection at their facility by offering the newest and most popular products that the industry offers. Professionals eliminate the need for their members to go elsewhere to purchase their product. They can do it right there at home. Apparel is the best way to increase your bottom line and generate the wow factor. And if you walked into Dean's shop, it looks like you're going into Nordstrom's. It's a small space, but it's beautifully appointed. Displays are pretty sharp. Just wish he'd done a little bit more of that when he was working for me. Dean also believes that women are the backbone of the private club family. Merchandising for them is an art form that you develop through experience. Dean's pride in Leawood and desire to promote the club has been demonstrated by hosting events such as the Pro Assistants Junior Tour, Assistants Tour, and of course the Bambino in honor of Babe Ruth, continuing to grow in stature every year. It is all part of his belief that in the end, you need to feel satisfied that you gave it your all. You need to love what you do and enjoy the experience. It is with great honor that I present Mr. Dean Johnson with Private Club Merchandiser of the Year.
Thank you, Heath, for that introduction. Thanks to all the past presidents that voted for me and everybody here for the support that I've taken from many of you throughout the years. 25 years ago, I went into John Kennedy's golf shop not knowing what I wanted to do in life, but being a bit of a golfer and having an opportunity to talk to John, he gave me a position, and in his words, he said, "Dean, I don't have a job for you, but I want you on my staff. So come in tomorrow and we'll see what you can do." And within 2 months, he had me working in his shop, running with Ashley Rowe at the time, and for the next 3 years, I had a ball. I learned a lot. We had the Buick Classic back then, but besides learning a lot of things and having a great experience working for John was fantastic. You couldn't have asked for a better introduction to the PGA. I remember the first hotline I saw that I was involved with, and looking at all these PGA members with their blue jackets and the pageantry of the whole thing, I was hooked. I said, someday I want to be a head professional, and one of my goals is to come back and play in the Hotline, and I've played in 10 of them ever since. Through that, I got an opportunity to work for the next head pro, who is Charlie Hicks at St. Andrews. And if you haven't met Charlie after all these years, you should go and sit down with him, because he could be the nicest guy you ever talked to. I worked for him for 5 years, and I learned a lot of how to be a pro at a slightly less busy club than a Westchester Country Club. And we took care of business there and had a lot of fun. And then ultimately, I got a position with the man over here, Heath Wassam. And like he said, we were both exactly the same age. We got married within a year and a half of him getting that job, and we both had our first children within the next 2 years. So we went through a lot of change. We learned a lot from each other, and that probably gave me the most guidance for what ultimately became my first head pro job, and hopefully my last, at Leawood Golf Club. Leawood for 10 years has supported me, let me bring in different events, including the Bambino that a lot of the pros here are participate in each year. And I know the rich history and he'll come up later, but George Lewis was the head pro for many years. So I have a rich history of golf professional and doing the right job there to look at. Merchandise of the year means a lot to me. I put a lot of work into it. And I probably do a lot more than the average head pro because I enjoy it. So I appreciate this award. Thank you very much for supporting me, all the fellows. Yesterday I was on the phone with a couple of pros talking about their launch monitor systems. So it never ends. It's the best decision I ever made was becoming a golf professional. I've been blessed all these years. And like I said, I go to work every day and enjoy it. So I hope you all do too. Thank you.
Next up to introduce our Merchandiser of the Year public category, Merchandiser of the Year from last year, Chris Kenny.
Thank you, Michael. While Michael Ludian is well known for and has been recognized for his efforts in player development and teaching, it is the central theme of knowing your customer that has led to his success. When you visit the Philip J. Rotella Golf Course, you will recognize the care that is taken in the presentation of the golf shop and the culture that he has created. Frequently updating displays and keeping a fresh look is the end product of countless hours spent identifying styles and price points that meet his customers' needs. What's selling from PGA Magazine and talking to fellow PGA professionals are just a few examples of how Michael stays at the forefront of merchandising. Ultimately, merchandising is a function of great people skills, strong communication, and the passion to promote and the effort to succeed. Michael and his team live this every day and exemplify it in everything that they do. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the 2015 Public Course Merchandiser of the Year, Michael Ludian.
Good morning. It is truly an honor to be recognized in our section for this award. I'm very grateful. I would like to recognize a few of the golf professionals I was lucky enough to work for during my tenure. Just like a lot of you, I grew up playing golf as a young kid. I've done probably every job there is in the golf business. Growing up in Pennsylvania at a little 9-hole golf course. My first start at the golf business was working at Montami Golf Club for a fellow who passed away by the name of Spike Wolf. Spike really taught me humility. He taught me that you don't know everything, and it's good to be humble. From there, I went on and I played for a couple of years, doing my best. I always wanted to be a player. I was hoping maybe I could stand in here one day get the Player of the Year award, but very grateful to be getting the Merchandiser of the Year award. So after playing for a couple of years and not having much success, I came back up to New York, and Tom Joyce gave me an opportunity at Glen Oaks. I'll never forget the first thing he said to me when I came up from the lesson tee. He said, "Boy, you got to forget the 9th letter of the alphabet, boy." Tommy's here. I know he'll probably get a kick out of that. He said, "There's no I's or B's in the golf business." Something I still try to teach people that work for me, especially these young kids that are coming up. From there, I went on and I worked at the Piping Rock Club for Ian Mossman. Ian taught me a lot about club repair. He taught me the value of making sure that you put your members first. I do club repair currently, and I build clubs for kids, and it's something that I offer at my shop today. And I owe that to Ian. I'm very, very grateful for this award. In closing, I'd like to thank the MPGA board. I'd like to congratulate all the other award recipients, and I'd like to thank my wife, Lisa, and my staff at Rotella. And I'd like to wish everybody a good off-season. Thank you.
following the final award, we're going to ask all the award winners to see Kelly for pictures, please. All right, I'll be taking this next one on. It's our Player Development Award. And this is not the first time Dave Stevenson has won an award. Dave was honored in 2006 following his humanitarian work in the wake of Hurricane Katrina disaster. He cooked out of Dutch ovens for weeks at a disaster site in Lake Shore, Mississippi, and wrote a book that raised thousands of dollars for victims while becoming a devoted advocate for those that needed it most. Meanwhile, beyond being a great humanitarian, Dave has quietly built the game of golf up from his head professional position at Lake Isle. Some of the ways he's growing the game of golf include hosting the hugely successful Met PGA Pro Junior Championship for over 20 years now, running a Tuesday night ladies program and different clinics throughout the season, providing instruction for 4 different local high school golf teams, and creating an after-school program called Lucky Charms for autistic children from East Chester High School every Wednesday during the school year. But that is not all. Canoeing down the Rio Grande 3 years ago, Dave discovered the small Mexican town of Boquiles. Dave, you can help me with that. And along with some help from the South Texas PGA, Dave brought the game of golf to this small town of 160 people without electricity. It's really an amazing story, and I hope that Dave will share a little bit more about it today with us. And so in Dave Stevenson, you have a PGA professional who is sincerely passionate about helping others, and also sincerely passionate about growing the game of golf. It should inspire all of us to take an honest look at our own programs to see if we can do better. It's my distinct pleasure to welcome and congratulate the 2015 Player Development Award winner, my friend, Dave Stevenson.
I'm real good at talking about myself, but I would like to talk about this community of Bohemians. So as Mike mentioned, I canoe the Rio Grande. I've been doing it my whole life. Very remote. It's a part of Southwest Texas. You conjure up Pancho Villa, Comanche, Apache raids, outlaws, banditos, and that's exactly what the cigarette used to be. And 83 years ago, canoeing past this border town. Again, no electricity, very poor town. I had this crazy idea that I even said out loud, and I said, wouldn't it be cool if these kids could get golf balls? So I'm canoeing past the town. Meanwhile, the year before I canoed past it, I put my head down. Just, keep on paddling because I don't know who's over there. Are the bad guys, are they the Zetas, who knows what's going on? Definitely third world, and you just got to mind your own business and keep on moving downstream. This is nowhere near El Paso. It's about 300 miles away, 500 miles from San Antonio. So anyway, I'll tell you the story. I decided that I was going to introduce golf to this town, and I was going to meet with the town matriarch. There's no government, 160 people. Her name is Lilia Falcone. And I have to tell you that this town almost had electricity in 1988. And at that point, the governor of Texas and the governor of Coahuila had agreed to run power lines from Big Bend National Park, which is on our side of the river, and electrify this town. And then the Sierra Club got involved, and the Peregrine Falcon, and that got mixed. So, anyway, no electricity. Great family town, no bad guys, no drugs. And I decided that it would be kind of neat if we could get golf equipment to these kids in this town. So it's 2,000 miles, more than 2,000 miles from here, but it's right on the border. So the Rio Grande is the border between Texas and Mexico for about 1,200 miles. Brewster County, Texas, which encompasses Big Bend National Park, is bigger than the state of Connecticut by 650 square miles. And they have one traffic light. It's in Alpine. So if you picture remote, it's more remote, which is what I love. I love people, and then I love no people. I kind of do the extremes almost. But, so anyway, I went to the golf show last year in January, and I got introduced to Dan Van Horn of US Kids Golf, and I want to thank Craig Moyer for that introduction, because he sat down with me and on the spot committed to 100 brand new kids clubs. Wayne Peterson from Bonafide Golf donated plenty of golf balls. I don't want to forget Barry McLaughlin in the first tee, and David Holzer at Mashalou. You guys saved my ass as we got closer to D-Day, and we decided we were going to use limited flight balls instead of the regular golf ball. We want to kind of keep it safe down there. But I had this meeting with Lilia Falcone in Boquias, and she had maybe 4 or 5 guys there on horseback getting off into this meeting, and she spoke excellent English. Her father used to be the unofficial mayor of the town, and she said our kids would love golf. So once I got her blessing, then I'm kind of OCD on things, and I just kind of ran with that. We looked at the edge of town, found the most beautiful place in the world. I'm not even kidding, it's absolutely stunning. It's maybe 50 feet above the desert, and you have the El Terminal Mountains 3 miles away, and you have the Sierra del Carmen's about 6 miles behind them. So once I got her blessing, spoke to Charlie. Charlie's been very modest, but this whole thing wouldn't have happened as well. It might have happened, but Charlie Robson and his staff, I can't say enough about what they did. Charlie got me in touch with Mike Ray, the executive director of the South Texas PGA. Mike put me up with Jake McCullough, PGA professional at Odessa Country Club, 5 miles from the airport where I would fly in. Pro at Alpine Country Club, who wants to remain anonymous, as pro at Blackjack Crossing, which is the Legis Resort. So I had lots of help in this ghost town of Terlingua, Texas, where pretty much my daughter said, "Daddy, who lives there?" And I said, "Outlaws, artists, river guides, and ex-river guides," and that's pretty much it. Okay. So anyway, got all the equipment down there, did a clinic in December last year, went back the next day, did another clinic. I hired a photographer, some kid from 150 miles away, an interpreter, so I could work the crowd a little bit, and they had golf. So I've gone back 6 or 7 times last February. The ladies of Lake Isle, my Tuesday Twilighters, did a clothing drive for me, and got 19 huge boxes of clothing, and shipped that to Texas, to South Texas, got that across the border, and they did another clothing drive for me this year. And again, I'm not good at asking for things for myself, but for this town of Boquias, it does have 37 kids and 47 families. Any of you have any kids' clothing, I'd come by and pick it up. I assure you I get across the border because I'm the guy doing it. And you're dealing with a lot of agencies down there: Homeland Security, National Park Service, Rangers, Border Patrol, U.S. Customs. And I remember Lilia Falcone said, "Don't worry about our side, you have to worry about your side." So it's an official port of entry. As of 2 years ago, the border got reopened by rowboat. You get a passport, 30 to 40 touristas a day go across. It's still very poor, but they need those 40 tourists per day. And anything you can do with kids' clothing, I'd be very happy to come pick it up. And just in closing, one more quick thing. This is kind of an interesting thing, how the equipment found its way over there. OJ wrote a book, If I Did It. So if I had smuggled this over, I would have done it by canoe, and I would have used Google Earth and studied a lot of things like that. Anyway, thank you very much for this award.
All right, congratulations again, Dave. Next up, Chris Kenny to introduce our Patriot Award winner.
Patriot person who loves, supports, and defends his or her country and its interests with devotion. Ray Ford, selfless, sincere, professional, and modest. In life, many people have great ideas and aspirations to influence change. However, not everyone follows through on them. When I returned to the Metropolitan section 12 years ago, I had the fortune to meet Ray Ford. And I knew that Ray was one of the people that acts on his ideas and doesn't stop until he has accomplished his goal. Something that I admire greatly about Ray. While the 2015 Folds of Honor Pro-Am exceeded all expectations, raising more than $200,000, the selection of Ray Ford for the 2015 Patriot Award in our section goes well beyond the success of a fundraiser. As amazing and significant as it is recognition of a commitment, a passion, and a promise to those who have served and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Ray had invited me to participate in his program for 3 years, and the first couple years I was not able to attend because of a previous commitment. This past year I participated, and I can tell you, Kelly talked about the Met PGA Hope program. I saw that same level of gratitude and got that same feeling when I was at Ray's event. It was absolutely amazing what Ray has accomplished with the members of Rolling Hills. His support is also shown through the Met PGA Hope program, where Ray attended the training program at Westchester Country Club, designed to teach disabled veterans. Ray then took his newfound knowledge and drove to West Point for several weeks to teach veterans suffering from PTSD how to play the game of golf and give a new lease on life. He is now working on starting a similar program in Connecticut. In 2014, Rolling Hills Country Club hosted the Connecticut Open, and Ray saw another opportunity to show appreciation for the military veterans. For 3 days, the players of the championship shook hands with military personnel assigned to the 18th green and expressed gratitude for their service. A tradition that has now been continued in following Connecticut Opens. Inspiration is often born out of passion, and Ray Ford has plenty of that. He is as passionate as he is involved. He is a leader who is always willing to assist fellow PGA professionals who are looking to conduct similar events. In closing, what makes Ray Ford truly special is that he is the first to tell anyone who will listen that he is only doing his share, and that everything that has been accomplished because of the many talented and committed individuals working alongside of him. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the 2015 award winner and my friend Ray Ford.
Thank you, Chris. I don't think you can possibly top Carl Alexander 2 years ago gave the greatest intro to me, so thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for, my voice is not very loud, but thank you very much for recognizing me for the Patriot Award. This is certainly one of the more memorable moments in my career, certainly as an assistant, as a PGA member for the last 20 years. Receiving this award for the second time makes this one even more special. I already have a very special place in my house where I'm going to put this plaque and honor it and proudly display it. So thank you. I'd also like to thank or congratulate all the other winners today. You all deserve each one of you. It's always nice to be recognized with your colleagues you admire, respect, look up to, consider as friends, and Dave students. It's nice to follow you. It sounds like you're touching lives. You're my favorite, my dad's favorite golf professional, and it sounds like you continue to touch lives as you've been touched by my dad's. For many awards, a long list of thank yous that allows us to allows me to be the beneficiary. In my case, I can honestly say that there was no way I could receive this award without the support, care, and involvement of many people on a long list. First, let me start by thanking Brendan Bowie. As many of you know, he's our title sales rep in that section. 5 years ago, at this very meeting, after learning about Brendan's passion for our military and also serving as a captain himself, we decided to team up and co-chair the Folds of Honor Challenge program, which many of you know is hosted at Rolling Hills Country Club. It's been 4 years now for running the event. And running a golf event honoring our military heroes who sacrificed their life for us was the least we can do, and to help raise money for the Folds of Honor Foundation, which many of us know is a special charity and organization. Neither one of us envisioned that this event would grow to the level it has. And this year, as you heard, we raised $200,000. An incredible achievement by the Rolling Hills membership. I want to thank many of the PGA members in this room also, and also the PGA members nationwide. After 4 years of running Folds of Honor Challenge, I realized that raising the amount of money requires donations, support for our silent live auction where we raise most of the money. But at the same time, the hardest part for me is asking you, all of you, it's very difficult for me to ask you for donations. So I thank each one of you who's contributed to our event, who's donated for the live and silent auction. And for those of you who couldn't get a golf course or donation because you do your share at your club for the Folds of Honor as well as the PGA Vote, I thank you because I share this award with you. So I appreciate all of your support to help raise the money at our silent and live auction. Huge part. Our keynote speaker this year, many of you, Heath was there. Listen to Junior Ravel, who gave an incredible, powerful speech at the Rolling Hills. She lost her husband, Troy Gilbert. It was a powerful speech and so many great messages. And one message I took home was you don't have to wear a military uniform to serve the country. So everyone who's doing their part with the PGA Whole program, with the Folds of Honor, you are doing your part. So I thank you again for sharing this award with me. I want to thank the members of Rolling Hills Country Club. 40 years ago, we had this vision to run the event. I asked the board, they accepted, and they said, of course, we're running. I begged for them to come to the first event, the dinner. And at that point, I realized I had a committee for the next year. 4 years later, they embraced this event and have probably 85% or more of the money I raised, or we raised. I think it's close to $500,000 at this point, 4 years. So I thank them. This event would not be as great as big as it is without the members of Rolling Hills. I also want to thank my professional staff. You know, this is it's a big commitment for me. It has become bigger each year. And my staff, a great golf staff, allows me to run the event, focus on the event. So I have a terrific team. I know Dan Zanis is here, so thank you, Dan. And Brian Proctor and Mike Keneally also are not here today, but I really want to thank the three of them and my entire team for allowing me the time to really take to run the event. Also, with words like this, a long list of people who inspire you, as well as many heroes along the way. And I could go on and on. I know Charlie's at 4 or 5 minutes, so I'm going to try, so I could go on and on about people who have inspired me during this mission the last 5 years of trying to set goals each year for the Folds of Honor event. But this year, the single most inspirational evening I've ever spent as a golf professional and PGA member was at the West Point Awards presentation, graduation. I think we all know, we've heard enough about PGA World today, and I can't say enough about what Kelly and Jonathan's doing, and working with hands with Paul Blood. It is an incredible organization, I think what we're doing at PGA World is amazing. That night I listened to some military players and veterans who are suffering with PTSD and some drug and alcohol addicts who are struggling as a result of their service to our country. And listening to them speak, I've never been so touched in my life. It brought me to tears 2 or 3 times that night. And I know any professional who was there that night felt the same way. It was was an incredible feeling, and I'm just so proud to be a PGA member as a result of that night. I think what Kelly was doing with the PGA, or Kelly, Debbie, and Paul, I'm on your committee, I'm willing to help you out as long as you're really last. So Kelly, you are my future board member personally, and I want to thank you all for this award. Have a great Richard.
Congratulations, Ray, well deserved. Next up, our Youth Player Development Award. When Peter Procops arrived at Lawrence Yacht and Country Club as the head professional 10 years ago, there was no junior program to speak of, but things have changed. And that success stems not only from any single program or initiative, but a series of small successes that Peter has built into their program and turned it into a genuine asset into his community. Peter established a junior club championship, which they did not have, and personally visited and recruited kids from local schools, creating a summer camp from scratch with over 220 juniors and evening sessions during the school year. He also built up the caddy program at Lawrence with local high school students, providing them with training and clinics. He formed a PGA Junior League golf team and brought over 40 girls to Lawrence as part of a program to learn golf at no charge. All of these programs and others have brought financial success to the facility with increased membership and family use of the club. And with the support of his team at Lawrence, Peter shows no sign of slowing down, now introducing a Junior Girls Club Championship next season. It's for all these reasons and many more, I'm very proud to welcome and congratulate my good friend, the 2015 Junior Golf Development Award winner, Peter Procops.
Michael, thank you. And thank you, Selection Committee. Congratulations to all the other award winners as well. First and foremost, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, who has given me strength and hope during some of those cloudy days and challenging days. I would also like to thank my staff, Jeff Calais, James King, Yutaka Okada, for their hard work and support. This is as much their award. A big thanks to my general manager, Leo McMahon, who has a passion for growing the game, which has helped ignite a passion in me. When I first came to Lawrence in 2005, our membership was booming. We had a waiting list, we did 40,000 rounds. Well, in 2008, we saw a huge diminish. We were in dire straits, lost members. Every year we would lose more and more members. Well, when Leo came in 2010, we sat down and we said, how are we going to create more golfers? We weren't junior friendly. We didn't have to be junior friendly because we had so many golfers. You know, when a junior came to the first tee, we'd say, well, you can't get out till 5 o'clock. And this went on from 2005 to 2011. We needed to do something different. Leo had mentioned to me, why don't you go to the local schools? And I really didn't want to go to the local schools, but we had to do whatever we had to do to grow this game. We are the ambassadors in this room. The professionals in this room, it's up to us. It's our responsibility to grow the game. Well, I didn't really see that when I first started in this business, because golfers kept coming by the groves. Our phone would ring. 40% of our lessons are usually outsiders. We're a municipality, so we didn't really have to do anything. Everything just came, but times have changed. They were lean. So I went to the local schools and I said, how could we introduce golf to our community? And luckily for us, the two local schools had summer camps. Most of our kids go away for the summer, but they have summer camps where they have day schools. So we partnered up with them and we brought two schools in to create summer camps, 100 kids. You know, Tuesday through Friday, 2 hours a day, and 100 kids, boys and girls. In the past, it was just boys. So we had little girls 7 to 13 and boys as well. That was a huge boost for our community in our town. We brought local newspapers in, reporters. We wanted coverage. We wanted to see what we wanted our town to see what we are doing to grow the game, not just for memberships, but for the future of the game. And thank you, Jonathan Cole. We need 100 more of you. You are definitely an inspiration to me. So we began our first junior club championship in 2012, and we give clinics in the spring and in the fall after school. That does not stop. Also, what was a huge program for us is we didn't have many ladies playing the game. We saw a decline in ladies playing the game. And 2 years ago, I saw Tommy Henderson, what Tommy did with that one girl who never played the game before. He was an inspiration for me, that he took one girl who never played the game and he would prep her to play in one of his ladies' events. Well, we did the same thing this year. I sent an email out to all of our members. We have maybe 500 people on our email list. And I said, bring your friends, ladies. This is a beginner. If you played the game before, we don't want you. We want beginner ladies that have never played the game. Well, yeah, we have some husbands that play and that are members of the club, and they came, but we didn't. We wanted friends it doesn't matter whether you remember or not. Well, the first 4 were going to be free, and then the rest would pay. Clinic price. We do it for 4 weeks. I sent the email out within a matter of seconds. Well, if you know the 5 towns, if it's free, it's for me. Well, they came in droves. The first 4 were done within a matter of 30 seconds. And then we had 24 more sign up. And we gave clinics, and we still do give clinics. So Wednesday and Saturday. So we had 10 for Wednesday, and we had 18 for Saturday. And they wanted more than a month. This went on through, it just finished, Saturday's just finished 3 weeks ago, and our last Wednesday was supposed to be today. So the ladies loved it. We got a boost in our membership, but more importantly, we saw the fun that they had. The ladies had a great time, and we just built their confidence up. We all need, when we first start playing the game, we need that breakthrough. Whether you're a junior, when you're teaching a junior or teaching a lady, you just want to give them hope that they would have a little bit of a breakthrough to continue to play the game. Because as I mentioned earlier, it's up to us to grow the game. We also started a Pro Junior last year, where all of our professionals play with all the juniors. If it's 20 juniors, we'll make 5s and 6s. All of our pros will play once a year, and the kids look forward to that. So, as I mentioned before, we are the ambassadors. We also started a Pro Lady. So we get the ladies more involved with the professionals, so we play with them once a month. We play with a lot of our members once a week. So we're also going to host a drive, chip, and putt next year. So if you're out there, if you're on the fence, it's up to us to create more golfers. Whether you join the PGA League, we had 2 teams this year, 13 and under and 14 and up. And we're going to continue that next year. Basically, I hope I can inspire you to grow the game, because it's really our responsibility to grow the game. Thank you very much.
Congratulations again, Peter. Next up, to introduce our Horton Smith Award winner, Mr. Tom Henderson.
Horton Smith. When you hear the name Horton Smith, you think of education. You think of a well-rounded professional. When I hear Chris Kenny's name, I think of the same things. As far as being well-rounded, I look at categories like, what kind of training did this person have? What is he doing? Merchandising, instruction, player development, leadership, and of course, education. Chris, you fit the bill there to the T. Chris has been the head professional at the Patriot Club for the last 12 years. As far as training goes, he's worked at a pedigree of great clubs. Sleepy Hollow, Ridgewood Country Club, Bethesda Country Club, Pittsburgh Field Club, Bonita Bay, and of course Patterson. Merchandise, as far as merchandising goes, in 2013, Chris was in the top 100 golf shops as determined by the American Golf Merchandisers. And in 2014, he was our Met PGA Merchandiser of the Year for the private sector. Instruction and player development. In 2008 and 2009, Chris was a top 50 U.S. kids instructor. He's participated in PGA Hope. And on the club level, just one of the programs that he introduced, along with what Peter was talking about, he introduced a women's program called Give It a Try, getting new players, new women golfers to play golf. Leadership. In 2000, Chris was the Mid-Atlantic Assistant Professional of the Year. And in 2014, he kept his leadership going here by becoming a board member of the Met PGA. I remember a long time ago, Chris asked me, he said, how do I get involved? And it's just the best question anybody could ask me. He said, Chris, you want to get involved on the committees, on the committee level first, and then possibly nominate committee, and then the board. Well, Chris got on the education committee, became education co-chair, became a board member, and he did a heck of a job. If you went to any of the winter education programs this last winter, it was kind of a bleak winter, 2 feet of snow on the ground the whole winter, but it was definitely a ray of sunshine for our winters here, Chris. The program that you put together and administered. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our 2015 Horton Smith Award winner, Chris Kenny.
Thank you, Tom, for your kind words, your friendship, and encouragement during the past 12 years of my career. Certainly greatly appreciated. I'd like to thank the members of the Special Awards Committee for this honor. Being recognized by your peers is truly special. I would also like to congratulate the other special award winners today for their accomplishments and their contributions to our section. To all those who presented and attended the winter education seminars this past winter, thank you for sharing your knowledge. I have certainly learned a great deal from all of you. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm passionate about learning and sharing ideas. Today I would like to share 3 moments in my golf career that I feel have been influential to me. In 1985, I was introduced to Bill Adams, who was then the head golf professional at Bridgewood Country Club in Paramus, New Jersey. Bill hired me initially as a caddy, and then I guess he saw a little bit of hope in me, and he brought me into his operation, giving me an opportunity to work in his golf shop and as a member of his staff, including a role in the 1990 U.S. Senior Open. One of the things that Bill always told me is that you can learn something from everyone that you meet, so make sure you listen and don't be afraid to ask questions. Some of the best advice I've received in my life. What I've found, especially with fellow PGA professionals and golfers that we teach, is that people genuinely want to help individuals that strive to be better. It all starts with a sincere interest and your willingness to start a conversation. In 1997, Brendan Walsh introduced me to Jim O'Mara, who hired me as an assistant on his staff at Sleepy Hollow Country Club. While Jim was not quick to adopt technology, especially when it came to preparing scorecards and other tournament materials, yes, we hand out every single card for every tournament that year. And I understand they still do the same. He constantly reminded me that I need to invest in myself and my future by learning new things. He encouraged me to seek out new information and would always be interested to discuss what I had learned during our weekly lunch. He also stressed being open-minded and learning from other professionals and applying what I learned there to our business. One of the most important things that Jim did was challenge me to attend seminars and engage people that I may not share the same opinions with, so that I could better understand the counterpoint. Truly powerful and enlightening was that piece of advice. What are we really learning if we only spend time talking to those that share the same exact views that we have? A few years ago, I was attending a fall meeting at Westchester Country Club. Rick Jensen was our speaker, and he was talking about learning and expertise. He asked everyone on a scale of 1 to 10. 1, you know nothing. 10, you could not know any more. How would you rate yourself as a golf instructor? I figured, well, I've been at this a little while, so I figured I'll be modest. I'll figure maybe a 5, 6. I looked to my right, and there were 4 professionals that I admire greatly, have been very successful in our section, and have made many contributions to our section. They all rated themselves a 4 or 5. Jensen went on to explain the most successful people that he works with always feel that they have more to learn and rarely rate themselves above a 5. This further solidified what I learned from Bill Adams and Jim O'Meara. If you feel you have all the answers, in time you will find yourself with none of the answers. I'm a true believer that you can learn something new every day. You just have to be looking and listening. Don't miss the many opportunities that present themselves to you on a daily basis. I'm certain that each of us will take away a few things from our presenter later today, Cameron McCormick, as well as from each of the special award winners today. Again, thank you for this honor, and please remember, never stop learning, because life never stops teaching. Thank you.
Congratulations, Chris, and again, a big thank you for all that you do. Chris has been a huge component of the educational programming this year, single-handedly during the winter series this past winter, so thank you and congrats. Next up, to introduce our Teacher of the Year, Mr. Joe Felder.
Thank you, Mike. Taking a page out of the Charlie Robson handbook, this is off the cuff because this is a very low-key individual. He doesn't talk much about himself, asks a lot of questions, and wants to know what he can do. My last year as president of MFPGA, John comes into my office and says, Joe, I want to get involved due to the section here. I kind of looking at him, recognize him from the Golf Digest schools back there at PGA National Days. He was the director of the Golf Digest schools. We started talking about some of the things he did. When 1996, when he taught at the Teaching and Coaching Summit. And then we just got talking about golf. And he likes to play and practice. He lives down the road from the Griff. But he wants to learn. When we talked about the winter programs, which were just starting up there, he wanted to be involved. He was going to go to all of them. He'll talk about going to see James Seaton to go learn about chipping, Charlie. Just in case you wanted to know anything, sorry about that. And he talked about just where he learned and how he talked to the people and giving his time up. And that time 5 years ago, he told me, watch out, this aim point is coming along. I said, John, please. Reading a line with your feet, no one ever does that. And he goes, oh, trust me, this is going to get big. And he was right. And he went through all the levels of aim point, became one of the certified teachers in the section. And then he said, Joe, I'd like to do some programs in the section. Can you please handle that? I talked to Charlie in the education committee, and we got him out there, and he did the last couple of years in Long Island and Westchester teaching aim point. And in teaching aim point, he'd sit around my club, and he took myself and my staff out in the beginning, showed us what was going on. And when we had, at the Griff, we had the Westchester aim point, and John was there. He'd spend hours talking about it afterwards, talking about the different things about aim point. And that's what I thought was so striking about John is he's always wanting to learn. He wants to learn. He wants to be able to teach. Teacher of the Year in the Met section, you can look at the book. There's so many quality teachers, and John fits right in there. Recognized now by Golf Digest and Golf Magazine. But he's a great family man. He brings the girls out to hit some balls with his wife, who can play a little bit too. Here's a guy, you ever have a question, and he'll give you his views on anything in the unofficial Met section, if we're allowed to talk about that, and you've got something he'll talk about, I'll tell you. But that's just the kind of a guy he is. If he believes in it, that's great, and if he doesn't, you're going to hear about it. But I consider him a friend. The last 5 years here hanging out at the Griff, and John, you're always welcome, and the Met PGA is so proud to have you as the 2015 Teacher of the Year. John Hopkins.
Thank all of you. Like everybody else here, my award today is the result of being able to manage my relationships with people and to set goals for myself. Joe has been very supportive, other than laughing at me for a few years about my aim point, because I saw there a process by which we could do something different. We could learn to read a green properly, and that was my experience with it, and that's why I did it. Up until that time, I don't think anybody had a green reading process that they can rely on. This is based on science, if you will. It's fact, and it's become very easy to do. I liked it because it worked. I have learned through my teaching, which, you know, I've been doing this I'm in my 4th decade of actually being involved with teaching, and in my 4th decade of membership. And I learned a long time ago that it doesn't have to look pretty to work on a golf course. And you see a lot of different swings, a lot of different ways to do things, and you can get in about 10,000 fights on Facebook about what's right and what's wrong. Well, to me, it's always been whatever works for the individual in front of you. If you can make them hit the ball better or have more fun with the game of golf, that's what it's all about. I've been fortunate to teach a lot of professionals in the section with putting an aim point, as well as high handicap players. And to me, it's always about watching somebody get better and enjoy the game more. Joe's been one of my best supporters. He's given me a home at the Griff as I developed the aim point process. I have 25 professionals here in the Met section that hosted me this year at the private clubs, and I'm most appreciative of that. Going forward, I had a goal. One of the goals this year was to teach 200 people the aim point green reading process, and I ended up with over 300. So I'm very big on goal setting. I think that, and I do it with my students, I do it with myself, I do it with my children. I don't do it with my wife. All right, she gets a pass on it. I celebrated my 20th wedding anniversary yesterday, and it is a very special day for me in a lot of ways, because the day I got married, I knew that my wife would not live in Trumbull, Connecticut anymore, where I was instructor of Golf Digest schools. So that was a very pivotal day for me, because when I entered the section up there in Connecticut, coming from living in Puerto Rico prior to taking the job at Golf Digest schools, one of my first calls was to Charlie and find out, you know, why can't I be in the Met section? Well, I lived about 2 miles north of Chris in the Patterson Club, which put me in Connecticut section. So by marrying a woman from Rye who refused to live in Connecticut, that was the start of my foray into the Met section. I deal with people all over the world in different forms of media, and to a person, everybody holds the Met section in esteem, as well they should. I mean, we are where the PGA was founded. We have the best golf professionals, we have the best clubs, we have the best teachers. And I get this from other people, just not my opinion. You know, you have the Joyce brothers, you have Gil McNally, you know, Michael Hebron. Every time I go out to an LPGA tour event, I have all these different people come up to me and say, "You're in the Met section, right?" And I said, "I am." He said, "What's Michael Hebron doing?" And I said, "Well, he's just doing something different." He changed his entire paradigm about teaching, right? And so what I started to do this year is I call Michael and we'd talk, and I'd make an appointment to go out and see him for a few hours and have lunch or breakfast. And that few hours always became 4 hours. And I was very fascinated because Michael was, you know, founded the Coaching and Teaching Summit. He did that back in '88. PGA saw the wisdom to take it away from him because the PGA does smart things, right? Mike was in the Hall of Fame. He's a past section teacher of the year. And so Mike was just developed a whole different paradigm. And I have to know why he would move on from what he knew to do something else. He wants to know how the brain works. He wants to know how people learn. And so I've been out there multiple times this year. I'll visit with him in Florida, and and if he'll have me, I'll be back out there next year, simply because I want to learn something that I don't know. My biggest fear in teaching is what I don't know how to do. I'm always looking to figure out a better way to do things. I think we're very fortunate in this section. You have people like Michael. You have Michael Jacobs, who has about $300,000 worth of technology, which saves me a lot of money and time and effort, because Michael does all the technology buying, all the technology referencing, and then for $100 I go to a clinic and then pick his brain for 3 hours. It's a great way to do things. I have a good support network of people that I do club fitting with. I am by far the worst club fitter in the world, and I know that, so I don't go near it. All right, Kirk Gregori out at Pete's, one of the 100 best golf shops. Paul Ferrone, hit it downtown golf in Stanford. These guys do all my club fitting, and to those of you that teach a lot, I think it's really imperative that you get your people fitted properly, because I know that once they're fitted properly, if we're not making any progress, that's on me, not on the equipment. One of the first things I do with people who want to get better is to go out to these two gentlemen and get them fitted, and they take all my questions, night and day, always get back to me, so I think there's a lot to be learned from there. Bill Bresnan out here on the island has been very supportive of me with Aimpoint, hosts me for clinics, and also for my seminars, because I as such do not have a home club. I operate out of an academy in the city, and then I do things out at the Griffin and out with Billy at Colonial, so it's always nice to get on green grass. As Joe mentioned, I'm a big James Siegman fan and friend. I've gone out there for a number of years with professionals. I put together a teaching seminar every year for 5 or 6 of us in September. We go out and spend a couple days with James, who teaches about a dozen players, strictly short game. James is very modest. He's much more successful than he'd ever let on. And one of the things that one of the gentlemen asked James recently when we were with him was, I want to be a better teacher. I want to get some fame in teaching. And James says, that's easy. He says, you just need to pick better students. He said, better students always make better teachers. And I think that's true with all of us. One of the things that excites me about being here today is, it's being on a dais with all the other award winners. To me, that's very important to be among such great people. And every one of these award winners has had a similar message to all of you. They all give back. And my father was a wounded veteran, eventually lost his life because of his wound. And so one of the things that touched me about what Ray Ford and what Kelly's doing is I need to be more involved with that going forward. So I'm going to make time in my schedule to do that, because I think it's very important. On the flip side, I think it's a travesty of justice of what our federal government does for the rest of the world that we don't do for our vets. That's another story for another time. In closing, I'd like to encourage all of you to continue to learn. And in some ways, people who win awards say it doesn't matter to them. Well, I'm not one of those people. It matters to me. It's nice to be recognized by your peer group. There are a lot of other candidates, I'm sure, that we're giving consideration, and probably most of them better teachers than I am, and their day will come. But I think it's only fitting that I get wedged between Chris, who's done a great job with the education, along with Michael Shanks, and following up from Carl. I go to as many educational forums during the winter as I can for a number of reasons. It's always good information, and you get to see Carl Alexander, who has the best sweater collection of anybody in that section. If you have any interest in fashion, I buy after I see what Carl's wearing. It's great, and the information is good too. So don't get me wrong there. And we get MSR hours, which we all like. I think it's only fitting that I come here before George Lewis does. I spent hours in George's bookshelves Most of my collection of instruction books is because of George. I know it was probably a relief to he and his family that the day he closed his doors, but it was a very sad day in my life because George had the greatest collection of instruction books and books on golf. And I used to go over there for hours on end and bother George with questions and seek out books. And George, I can't tell you how important it is to have spent that time with you. I would encourage all of you to get to know our professionals who precede us in the Met section because that's the backbone of the section. That's why every other section in the country is jealous of us. One of my goals going forward is to bother Tom Henderson as much as I can over the next few years. All right? I'm a very big believer that as the PGA of America, we should have a national teaching division. I think we're missing out on that. I think we're losing a lot of men and women who are very gifted because we don't have a way to incorporate them into our ranks. Why we do that is beyond me. I'm very much a section person, and like many of you, I probably take issue with national more than I should, but that's probably not going to change. So one of my goals going forward is to bother national as to why we don't have a teaching division and what do we need to move forward with that. And we need to get our head out of the sand. Okay? So thank you all. Enjoyed Cameron. Being here today and listening to Cameron is probably the best part of my day. And the reason for that is Cameron goes about his business unlike any other golf professional who has had the success that he has. You never see Cameron on TV at any of the events. He has one of the best young players in the world that he's worked with for years. Cameron's developing a lot of great junior talent, and you would never know that he has anything to do with it. It seems to me that Cameron gives all the accolades back to the player who's putting in the blood, sweat, and tears, if you will. And to me, that's truly what good professionals do. I am at sometimes odds with some of the national awards that we give. Cameron McCord being our teacher of the year on a national level just could not have made me happier because of the way he conducts himself. And I assure Cameron that I am going to take 4 or 5 of his nuggets today. I'll give him credit, but I'm going to use them going forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you, John. Talk about always learning. I can't recall an educational seminar that he has missed in the last couple of years. Next up to introduce our Bill Strauss Award winner, Mr. Bill Palmer.
Special opportunity to introduce to you this year's Bill Strauss Award winner, George Lewis. My name is Phil Halpern, and I am not a golf professional. I am thankful that I have a day job. Those of you that have seen me swing a golf club know exactly why I have a day job and why I lean so heavily on it to feed my family. But I did grow up in the golf business, and I worked for a golf pro who taught Billy Mitchell, Marty Bowen, Tom Joyce, Darrell Kessner, Tony Chatavere, Harvey Lanick, Mike Joyce, John Gentile, Bobby Joyce, Steve Elias. Taught all of us not only how to work and make it in a golf shop setting at a country club, but also how to live life by encouraging each of us with our strengths and our skill levels, by empowering and enabling us and advising and encouraging each one of us to grow. Those of you that know me, and I know a lot of you here, know that one of my true desires is to give back to the professional golfers and greenskeepers, and it's because of the strength and the stamina George gave me in how to live life, how to deal with people, how to grow as a competitor, and how to last. In those days, George, or the pro, as we called him, was a pretty strict guy. And I couldn't beat the guy on the golf course. We used to have an envelope in his drawer, and I swear half of my law school tuition money
was in that envelope because I just couldn't beat him. George pushed us to grow and excel. Thankfully, I was smart enough to be able to test George on occasion. For example, there was the time in the 3-day member guest when I was an hour and a half late, and everybody was standing on the putting green waiting for me to open the shop. I really tested George on that day. Or when I came back from my senior prom and I decided it was a good idea to surround the putting green with all the carts we had, making it impossible for anyone to get to the putting green. That was another test of George's stamina. And I'm very happy to say, Pro, you passed all those tests with flying colors. He had moral stamina, he had a firm mind, solid values, and he taught me how to become a success at life and at family, and even a little bit at golf. The one thing I would say to each of you as you're here today, consummate professionals as you are, is look around and try to remember that kid that's working for you, or that young member's son who's taking lessons to you, really do look up to you, and it matters. And I hope one day, one of those kids, like me, will be standing here telling you how indebted they are for what the Pro did for me. So I couldn't be more pleased or more proud to introduce this year's Bill Strasberg Award winner, George Lewis.
Bill, thank you so much for that generous introduction. I'd like to thank the committee honored to receive this award. And I have to share it with 14 of my assistants that went on to take professional positions. And I'd like to also share it with Phil Melvin, who is now a prominent attorney and shop manager for 5 years, who's helped so many men's section pros. He's done it all under the radar. It's a tremendous asset to our organization. It's true what they say, you are only as good as the people who work for you. People often ask me how I found such great assistants. And whenever I looked for a new assistant, I looked at the character of the person first. Ethical standard, moral fiber, integrity, responsibility. After that, I interviewed them twice, had lunch, discussed their teaching philosophy, played 9 holes with them, and then I knew and I could trust that person that I was going to hire. They shared my goals, and that was the most important thing. And I can tell you that that's a pretty good list you fellas are looking for in prospective boards. After I had full confidence in the person, I could give them the freedom to be themselves, bring their own individual stamp to the job. They've certainly proven their caliber by going to receive 42 Met Section Awards. 5 are in the Met PGA Hall of Fame. So just as Bill Strasberg set such a wonderful example, I was mentored by Bob Watson. In turn, I tried to help all my assistants with everything that I do. And they have mentored their own assistants, and that has been growing, that chain, and is still growing today. I'd like to thank one other person in the room, my wife Susan, who has been my 15th club in my bag for 43 years. Thank you, honey. You're the best. I'm pleased to say that I'm still in touch with both of my assistants and staff on a frequent basis. So guys, thank you. This one's for you.
Congratulations. And our final award, the Deacon Palmer Award, we can bring up Mr. Charlie Robson.
I know it's been a long morning, and we're all anxious to get to Cameron, but I think we're going to enjoy this last presentation. And maybe because of what it is and who it is, Deacon Palmer Award was started last year, recognition for somebody who's overcome obstacles and shown tremendous courage in serving the golf industry and our association. When I think about courage, the first thing that comes to mind for me is Billy Mitchell. I sat there and watched him as he was dying, working on the border control issues that were in a binder. Most people would have been more concerned about their own health and their own future. He was more concerned about fellow members. He spent a lifetime caring about golf professionals and about golf and about club members. He used to say he bled blue and gold. He was PGA trained, PGA educated. Didn't have a formal college education. Didn't go to college. But his legacy is in this room. It's every one of you, whether you knew him or not. Billy Mitchell touched you all, because everything we do, everything this section is about, everything we've worked for from 1916 to 2016 has been because of professionals like Billy Mitchell. And Billy was a leader, there's no doubt about it. What he meant to our association, you could put into books about enthusiasm, energy, excitement, but it really was all about service. And you know, when we talk about a legacy, I think the greatest thing that I can say about Billy is that you're about to hear from his legacy, his greatest reward, a person who has kept his love for the apprentices and for PGA alive through the William A. Mitchell Scholarship Fund. And somebody who he trained in the golf shop. She stopped for the donuts every day if he didn't get there first. And more importantly, was a rock for him during those final days and during his time that he was able to promote what the PGA is all about. So I'd like to introduce to accept the Deacon Palmer Award posthumously, William A. Mitchell. Michelle Mitchell, come on up.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you to the Special Awards Committee and the PGA Board for bestowing this wonderful honor in recognition on my dad. He would have been thrilled. And I am thrilled to accept the Deacon Palmer Award on his behalf. You have given me another reason to be proud of a guy I love and respect very much, and it's heartwarming to know that so many PGA members still remember William Mitchell so fondly and with such respect. Over the years, I've been touched by so many caddies, members, PGA professionals, former golf colleagues who have shared their stories and memories of how my dad made a positive difference in their lives and how they're still benefiting from something he said or did. As his daughter, I may be biased, but I can't help but feeling the PGA chose to bestow the Deacon Palmer Award on someone who meets the qualifications for this honor perfectly. Billy Mitchell certainly overcame a major obstacle to achieve his goals. He grew up in Yonkers, New York, in tough circumstances. His family didn't have money. He never went to college. But what had profound impact on his life was the valuable professional education he received from caring mentors like Bob and Donna Watson, Hugh O'Donnell, Bill Panessa, and George Lewis, who taught him about golf and they taught him about life. With their guidance and inspiration, Billy Mitchell overcame his disadvantages. He became a professional. He fell in love with golf and he fell in love with the PGA, which for him, PGA stood for Path to Great Achievement. My dad would often say, Billy Mitchell was PGA educated, PGA trained, and achieved the promise of the PGA. I am thrilled also that you have chosen to recognize my dad's integrity, character, and leadership with this award. For Dad, integrity began with the gratitude and determination to give back to his profession, especially through mentoring, since he knew that was so pivotal in his own success. As far as he was concerned, PGA also meant passing along good along. He gave back to the sport and he gave back to the profession by putting everything he had into serving his members, supporting the PGA, and trying to pass along the same kind of guidance and encouragement he had received. The Met PGA newsletter from July of 1976 noted during his roles as chairman of the Employment and Professional Club Relations Committee, Billy works to make professionals and better professionals, and he tries to ensure these better professionals will have better jobs. Mentoring, ensuring quality jobs and compensation, adequate training, and club support was a true passion for my dad. He was honored with the Bill Strasberg Award twice. His ability to put the club members and golf professionals together was what made him so successful with club relations. And in his 1996 acceptance speech, he said that this was the most rewarding part of his profession. As a testament to his legacy of mentorship and professional development, behind me stand three of your fellow PGA professionals, Joe Felder, James Smoot, and Gary Murphy. They all served as assistant professionals under my dad and went on to their own successful head professional roles. This was my dad's greatest accomplishment. To sustain my dad's values of mentorship and professional development, in 1997, with the support of the Met PGA, we formed the William A. Mitchell Scholarship Foundation. In the past 18 years, we've supported over 70 young golf professionals with their PGA education expenses as they undergo their checkpoint levels. We're proud to uphold Dad's example of passing the good along, and we hope to continue this tradition for many, many years. To everyone at the Met PGA and to all of my dad's friends and fellow professionals, a heartfelt thank you from a grateful daughter. On behalf of your fellow PGA members, Ludian A. Mitchell, thank you.
That's going to conclude our awards presentation. If we could kindly ask everyone to be back in their seats in 5 minutes. We're going to take a short break.